everybody. Grant Miller here. It's football time. I am pumped up. This is Eric Ponce of the Orange Bowl Committee. First of all, how many years you been there at the Orange Bowl?
31 plus years.
Wow.
Yes.
And you came from where before that?
Before that, I came from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and I was working there and doing also the Las Vegas Bowl. We were there when they started that bowl game, so that was my stop before. Before that, I was at the Blockbuster Bowl here in South Florida.
Wait, you went from Killian, basketball player.
I was a JV basketball player. I became the manager of the varsity team, and I went on to the University of Florida and worked for their program there. So it kind of got me into sports.
Okay, then you went to Florida. And what happened after Florida?
I was there undergrad and grad school, and my first job afterwards was at the Blockbuster Bowl.
So at the Blockbuster, who did you work for then?
The great Keith Tribble, my mentor.
A Killian running back?
Yeah.
How about that, huh?
The irony is that when I was at Killian, I'd see his picture on the Hall of Fame in our gym. And then when I went to the University of Florida, I met him. And I said, I know you. He goes, I don't know you. I said, well, I know you. You're on the wall.
He's still active in Miami, right?
Yeah. He moved back here, I guess, probably a decade now. And he's here. He's very involved with sports marketing. And we're still very close.
Yeah. He's a little bit older than you, right?
Just a little bit. I don't want him hearing this right now and saying anything about age.
All right, so now we got to know about you. Before we talk football, Orange Bowl Committee is just not the bowl game. I know you just dedicated a new field in Miami Gardens, correct?
The mission statement of the Orange Bowl Committee has really never changed since 1935. It's been about economic development and bringing tourism to the area, but also by virtue of the success of the bowl game, but all the events that we do that we're able to give back to the community, and we call it Orange Bowl Cares, and we have 4 pillars. One is youth and sports. The second is education. The third is community engagement. And the fourth is what you touched on, is our legacy gift program. We've done 6 to date, but the 7th one was announced yesterday. We're going to Walt Frazier Park next to Carroll City High School.
Famous football coach who wore the choo-choo hat, right?
Yep, and he was there yesterday.
Wow, he's old, huh?
He's not that old. I mean, he looks good, and he's vibrant, and
he was a hell of a coach.
Great coach, and I told this yesterday that I was at the All-State Sugar Bowl, because that game feeds into this year's Capital One Orange Bowl.
It was in New Orleans.
Yeah, and I went to the SEC as a suite, the conference, and I was in there, and one of our former employees was, at the time, it was Misty Knight. She married Tico Brown, great football player from Carroll City High School at the University of Florida, won the national championship in the mid-'90s. And I saw them, and I shared with Tico that we were doing this park next to Carroll City High School, named after Walt Frazier Park. Right. And he profusely thanked me because the impact that
Coach
Frazier had on all his players was just remarkable, and I could see it. Tico's reaction, not just once, he kept coming back and thanking me, and I shared that with Coach and said, "You've touched a lot of lives."
By the way, I was born in Carroll City. Right next to Norland Middle.
There you go.
So almost right next to the stadium, Hard Rock, but I still call it Joe Robbie.
There you go.
So all right, so we got big game this week. Thursday, 7:30, Hard Rock. Let's talk about not about the game, but the impact of South Florida.
Sure.
It's not. People think it's Dade County. The impact is Dade, Broward, Palm Beach. Correct.
Right. It's a South Florida platform. Obviously, we were born in Miami, but the marketplace clearly goes from Keys up to Jupiter, out west to Naples. It's a footprint. It's Southern Florida that really is Orange Bowl, and it's just going to be remarkable. It's a sold out game.
And to tourists, today's Tuesday, they're already in town.
Oh, they're coming right now.
Because I saw somewhere Notre Dame's having parties now.
Yes.
How many? I know you don't know the exact figures, but how many Notre Dame fans are coming in?
Well, we know there's about 66,000 seats in the stadium, and it's
that stadium's gonna be rocking.
It's going to be rocking, and of course there's some locals that come in there, but the majority.
We don't want locals. We want the
majority definitely is coming up from out of town.
And Penn State. They travel?
I mean, these are two of the biggest brands, not just in college athletics, but in sports. I mean, they just have massive followings, and they haven't played since 2007. So it's palpable the build up to this game. We love the economic impact coming from tourism, but also it's a primetime ESPN broadcast. The viewership is set to be very, very high. So it's going to be a great spotlight. You know, we know the weather that's going on around the country, and down here it's going to be a great showcase.
And it says right on there, Miami Gardens.
Yes.
And for the city of Miami Gardens, a new city. Shirley Gibson, the godmother of it, started it. Then Oliver Gilbert took over, took it to the next level. Now Rodney Harris.
Yes.
Take it. It changes everything. It's exciting because the tourism is important for South Florida. I just watched a piece on the coach of Notre Dame. He's a Notre Dame product.
Yes.
They stopped a few years, stopped going to church the day of the game. He brought it back 2 years ago. They go to church, and then they go right. If it's a home game, they go right to the field.
Yeah.
He brought it back, and he feels that it changed the impact of the thought process for the Notre Dame team.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I've been here a long time. I've had the great honor to go to Notre Dame and see some football games. It's a special place, not just, you know, in college football.
Is it still wooden benches? Because I was there a couple of years ago. Did they fix the stadium up?
Yeah, the stadium's beautiful. They've renovated it. They have a lot of, classroom type structures around it. So during the week, it's utilized not just for Saturday football games, but for the student body, and it's a beautiful place. And Coach Freeman is one of the great stories. He's a great person, and you know what he's done. I mean, listen, it wasn't, you know, a seamless year. I mean, they started off with a great win against Texas A&M, and there was a lot of build up after that, and then they go play Northern Illinois, and they lose. And while Northern Illinois is a great program, it was a big upset, and so there was a little level of uncertainty, and they have just built a season that's gotten better and better, and the team's gotten better. And you know what they did with that home game against Indiana was pretty remarkable. And then they beat Georgia at a neutral site.
That was huge.
Yeah.
You know, nothing against Indiana. They're just physically not as big as some teams. But Georgia is the real machine, and Notre Dame just dominated them.
Two great wins. I mean, Indiana, to me, was one of the great stories of college football this year. But to
he came from D2? Where did that coach come from?
He came from James Madison.
Right.
Yeah. And
that's a D2.
They were Division One.
Small.
FBS.
Right.
But, you know, to go and play Georgia, who's kind of been the standard the last few years of the highest level of college football, and to win in a very physical game was impressive.
I have to circle back my ADD. You know, I went to Palmetto, so I went to
Killian.
I know. Orange Bowl prayer breakfast. I've heard speakers across the world.
Yeah.
Mark Rick and Don Bailey was the MC. I cried, I laughed. It was so emotional.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that Don Bailey was the center when Mark Rick was the backup quarterback.
Yeah.
And just remarkable. And Mark Rick, who has dementia, he's just rocking and rolling. It was really incredible event. Yeah. So hats off to that group to put it together.
Well, Don Bailey is a very highly respected member of the Orange Bowl committee, dear friend. And when Coach Rick came back to the University of Miami, I got to know him a little bit there, and it was just an amazing Q&A format that they had at the prayer breakfast, and
it was almost like a comedy, and both of them cried. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh yeah, it was. I know firsthand how close they are. Very, very close friends. They're family. And I think it meant a lot to Don to have that opportunity. And it was, Coach Rick is a man of faith.
He lives in Athens.
Yeah, well,
That's what he said.
I think he's there, and I think he spent some time in the Panhandle as well along the way. And it was, like you said, it was very humorous at times, very emotional at times. And I think everybody that was there came out of there feeling really lifted.
Absolutely. Yeah. The best story, he says, the football coach says, "Who's that Jim Kelly on the list?" He's going to be your backup.
I loved it at the end when Glenn Blackwood.
Yeah, so I intercepted it. So the stadium's going to be rocking.
Yeah.
Penn State travels well. Notre Dame travels well. They spend money. And that's the most important thing that I look at. The game's important to you. But as an outsider looking in, they're spending money. That tax, that hotel tax. People don't realize that hotel tax carries a lot. That's the homeless tax, the hotel tax brings all the benefits to South Florida. Yeah. And if 50,000 people are coming in, 16,000 local, it's just exciting. There's nothing more exciting to me when you go see a game and half of them are wearing gold, the other half's wearing white. Have you been to a Penn State game?
Oh, yeah.
What's it called? Death Valley? No.
Happy Valley State College. They're majestic places. A lot of college campuses have just.
Which one's your favorite to go to?
Oh, I don't know. They all just.
Other than the Orange Bowl.
Well, I went to the University of Florida, so I obviously have a place in my heart for Florida Field and now Steve Spurrier Field at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Right. No, there's just so many great settings. I could go on and on.
The Gator Bowl is exciting because it's split right in half.
That's a
the
great
Gators
scene.
and the Georgias. It's beautiful.
Texas, Oklahoma has a similar type setup. All these places have their special place in college football lore. For this game to have those two that are coming in is pretty unique and special.
Okay, here's the question of the day. Not who's going to be in the championship. How do we buy tickets for next year? National championship's going to be in our hometown, our backyard. How do we get tickets? What do we got to do?
The Orange Bowl Committee, we promote the rotation that's either the quarterfinal or semifinal. National championship game is now bid out, much like Super Bowl.
Oh, so we don't have
and
the
World Cup. We do. It's coming here, but we're the host committee.
Right.
That.
I understand that.
So we only have a very limited
tickets.
tickets.
How does a citizen in South Florida?
Yeah. For the CFP quarterfinal at the Capitol and Orange Bowl, you get it through us, which would be through our website,
That's
or you can call us 305-341-4700.
Can you put that in there, Alex?
Yep. And then for the next...
So next year there's 2 bowl games?
No, there's one bowl game. It's the CFP quarterfinal at the Capitol and Orange Bowl.
Right.
And then 18 days later, that game's on January 1, 18 days later, on January 19th, the College Football Playoff National Championship game's coming. That's owned and promoted by the College Football Playoff.
Gotcha.
So it's separate from us. So we're making sure that we're the lead entity as the host committee to bring it to South Florida.
So getting tickets, there's no guarantee.
No.
It's like you have
Orange Bowl's completely separate from the national championship game. There is ways to get involved with the host committee, and there's tickets through that, but that's investing in the host committee because it's a big number we have to raise. Big number.
It's so the Orange Bowl will be a different bowl game. Whoever, we don't know who it is going to be, but you can get tickets to that. You could go on your webpage, and it's
our annual patrons are, positioned to get tickets to the CFP quarterfinal game.
Right.
So that's we would encourage people out there to be an annual patron of the Capitol and Orange Bowl.
One of your oldest board members just passed away, Larry Adams.
Yes, very sad. Broke my heart.
I mean, I use the word sad. Come on, that man. How old was he?
I don't even know exactly the age, but he was
the oldest living UM baseball player.
He was one of my all-time favorites. He
lived a great life, a beautiful life,
and a good man. Of course, his son is on the Orange Bowl Committee.
Who was a Gator? He played.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah. Speak about Gators. I got to talk about this.
Yeah,
this is really exciting. So I see Senator Rubio.
Yeah.
4 months ago.
Yes.
Everybody's talking about politics. I said, Senator, how's your son doing in Florida? He goes, he turns his back from everybody, and he shows me his son got to dress out in the spring game. Mm-hmm. He scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
In the bowl game.
He did.
And his dream was to play college football. He's not built like a college football player. He made his decision in high school. He graduated from Blinn to play college football, and he did. So hats off to the Rubio family.
I loved at the end of that game when he scored the reaction of his teammates, and just being around college football the way I've been for the last 3 decades, to be a former basketball manager. That's authentic reaction. His teammates love him. It was great. It was great. And by the way, Senator Rubio is a member of the Orange Bowl Committee too.
Yeah, and he played football at South Miami High School. I think he played 1 year of college football somewhere.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Speak about politics. Here's a guy, West Miami, grew up in South Miami. He's now going to be the Secretary of State. How beautiful is that? He's one of us.
Yeah, I love you know, when you see people from South Florida rise to great success, I mean, he is obviously, you know, one of the great, you know, individuals that's ever come from Miami. There's so much to celebrate down here. There's so many great football players, athletes. We're doing a renovation right now in the city of Fort Lauderdale at the Jimmy Everett Tennis Center. And we're going to name the stadium court for our annual Orange Bowl International Tennis Championship. It's one of the biggest tournaments in junior tennis in all the world. And we're naming the stadium court after Chris Everett. So we're celebrating one of the great champions ever to come out of not just South Florida, but this country.
People, I just want to make it clear, Orange Bowl Committee is just not football.
No.
You do so many things for the community. I know you built a new field down in Homestead a couple years ago that is probably going to have to be redone because it is used 7/24.
Yes.
And you have one at, you got one in Overtown. It used to be Central Boys Club. The field in Overtown. What field is that?
Yeah, we've got 6 legacy gifts we've done to date. 3 have been in Miami-Dade County, 2 in Broward, 1 in Palm Beach.
And how much is those legacy fields?
They differ. The first one at Orange Bowl Field at Moore Park, which is
Park. That's the one I'm talking about.
That one was $5.6 million. It was a joint effort with the city of Miami.
It's beautiful. We have a stadium.
And we recently, to your point, we renovated the field with the city of Miami. We had Mayor Suarez out there for the dedication, and you want to make sure that, you know, by virtue of the success of the bowl game and all the events that we do, that we're able to give back, and that's one of our key pillars is legacy gifts.
So you do soccer, you do football, do you do soccer or no? You do tennis.
We're very involved with the Junior Orange Bowl, so we cover a lot of ground there. We have our own tennis tournament, the Orange Bowl International Tennis Championship.
That's huge.
Which is now owned by the USTA, but we're their partner, and that's our second oldest event. And when you see the champions of that event, and it's arguably bigger names than football. I mean, you're talking about Roger Federer, John McEnroe, Chris Everett, Bjorn Borg. The list goes on and on. Mary Jo Fernandez, Coco Gauff.
Wow. Yeah. Speaking about local, is your parents still eat at Anna Capri?
Yes, they're slowing down a little bit. But my parents still live in the same house that I grew up, right in South Miami.
No, South Miami, you mean the Killian area?
Yeah, right across from Baptist Hospital. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's like a friend of mine, Dr. Burris, lives there. John DeFeeti lives there. Yeah. Andy Hesser grew up there.
Andy Hesser's a good friend.
Yeah. He bought a second home in Tallahassee next to his son up there. So he's been commuting back.
I've got a daughter at Florida State now, so I'm going to have to reach out to Andy.
What year is she in?
Freshman.
You need to reach out to him because he has an extra house there. Listen, we're all excited for the Orange Bowl. We're more excited for South Florida. And it's just great times coming to be with you guys. And I thank you and your team for making South Florida a better place. Everybody, Thursday, 7:30, what TV station?
ESPN. National TV.
You got it. Everybody, have a great day.